Welcome to Biocanic's Health Intelligence Exchange community, where leading practitioners in integrative health approaches will discuss how they solve the most challenging and common health issues. These regular Q&A discussions are designed to take a deep dive into case studies and integrative approaches in order to elevate the collective knowledge of both experienced and new practitioners alike. Biocanic's Health Intelligence Exchange, your community for functional medicine.
All right, welcome to the Health Intelligence Exchange, everyone. I'm Jeremy Malecha, CEO of Biocanic, and I'm joined today by our guest, Dr. Tracey Stroup from the GetHealthy Store. And today we'll be discussing how to scale your health business with a GetHealthy storefront. Make sure to subscribe wherever you're watching or listening so you never miss an episode. And for those of you joining live today, we'll be transitioning to a Q&A towards the end of this presentation, so feel free to start posting your questions in the comments below. Dr. Tracy is the Chief Health and Growth Officer at GetHealthy Store, a naturopathic doctor and a seasoned healthcare business consultant with over 2 decades of experience in clinical practice, corporate strategy, and natural health education. With deep expertise in business operations, clinical nutrition, and supplementation, she has helped scale startups and major wellness brands while supporting practitioners through innovative solutions in technology, education, and branding. A dynamic speaker and educator, Dr. Tracy blends her background in fitness, naturopathy, and digestive health to empower both providers and clients with practical foundational wellness strategies. All right, welcome, Tracy. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me back. This is great.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to have kind of just a dedicated conversation with you. So I'd love to, get a bit of background about kind of your practitioner journey and then kind of how you transitioned over to GetHealthy Store.
Yeah, so I started in the fitness industry. I have a degree in exercise science and did personal training probably for 15 years. I owned my own studio. I actually ended up selling that to a large chain of gyms and becoming their regional director. And then actually met my husband, got married, and moved to Montana, where ironically I became a scout for a large ranch out there. And when we decided to have kids, we decided to move back east as, my parents were here. So sorry about that. I have walk with me to my magic. Yes. So from there, when I had my son, I actually decided to go 100% natural with him. Have a home birth. And so I really felt, I was always pretty holistic, but I really felt that I needed to learn more. So I went back to school and became a naturopathic doctor, had my son, all the things, home birth, etc. And here I am all these years later. So through that journey, I've owned my own health clinic, my own juice bar, my own personal training facility, sold the juice bar. So, I've owned, sold, scaled, moved, went into brands, started to work with a supplement company that actually onboarded to the catalog at GetHealthy Store, which is how I met John Armstrong. And I was just really impressed with his idea. I thought, man, this is brilliant. So we just started talking about what are the limitations, and he was trying to get me to give the practice and practitioner perspective. And then it just seemed like synergy that I would just come work at GetHealthy. So that was 4 years ago. And we've built a lot since then. And I get to meet and work with great people like you guys. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's such a compelling story and such a diverse kind of background of experiences. Kind of getting a little bit more into kind of, what GetHealthy Store is, right? Obviously, you guys get compared to a lot of other places out there. So I'd love to hear kind of how you describe, what is GetHealthy Store? What does it mean to have a branded storefront? And why is it such a powerful lever for practitioners? And then how does it compare to the other kind of just fulfillment dispensaries that, a practitioner may have 1 or 3 accounts with?
Yeah, well, those are a lot of questions. So I'll start with the first one, what's GetHealthy? So the way I explain it to people is if Amazon and FullScript had a baby, it would be us. We are a little bit beyond just a dispensary, and we're more than just a store. So I think there's a lot of technological issues with practitioners. They're not tech savvy. They don't know how to really build a Shopify. And in order to do that, they would have to hire somebody. So they end up spending a lot of money, and then they have to spend even more money to maintain it, update products, update pricing, all of that. That wasn't a desire of mine. I don't know about the practitioners listening. it wasn't our first desire to be marketers and front end, inventory managers and all the things that go with the business of natural health, which we really have to pay attention to. So Get Healthy is that system solution that allows you to have that full storefront, but it's owned by the doctor, but it's operated by our team behind the scenes. So we take care of all the product imaging, all the pricing updates. We remit their product taxes to every state on their behalf. So we just take we take care of a lot of the little nuances that keep practitioners from scaling. And then on the back end, we have a full clinical scripting tool that also has integrations with courses and diagnostic tests. So we can script a test, we can script products, we can script a course, a book. We're multi-wellness, which means on that front end experience and on the back end, our catalog houses 350 brands and over 10,000 SKUs of wellness products across 8 categories. So it's not just supplements. So I would say our differences are we are one place. We have that front end shopping experience, the back end clinical tool that you need to be successful. And then we have multiple wellness categories so that you don't have to deal with tons of affiliate links and sending people to multiple places to get the things that they need. They can shop the red lights at your store. They can get the Paleo Valley meat sticks. They can get a diagnostic test. They can reorder their supplements all in one place. So it just really simplifies the technological barrier for practitioners, and it really scales what they can offer in the industry.
Awesome. And I'd love to kind of, you've told me this story a couple of times, but I'd love to hear how you kind of evolved from that chaos of affiliate links and other storefronts, and then kind of where your business is at today through your own personal practitioner brand.
Yeah, I think, the highlight to what was coming, obviously, was the pandemic, where we saw that in March of 2020, Amazon had the highest supplement sales in the history of Amazon. And so the light bulb went off. At the time, I was working for a brand, and I thought, we either need to get digitally savvy or we're going to go out of business. And a lot of my colleagues did, because they weren't ready, because we were all very much brick and mortar. So I had to quickly learn how to get online and become this, digital guru. How do I even consult online? I think we were all learning things. So when I met John and he kind of had this whole concept, I thought, I'm going to put this to the test. I want to see what this is. So over the last 3 years, probably the first year, I didn't really use my store. I didn't, scale it. I wasn't really working on my business. I was working in the business of Get Healthy, trying to figure out what everybody was saying, because they all talk this tech jargon that I didn't know what that meant. They would say, oh yeah, like the e-com revenue of the, and I was like, I'm lost. That just all the stuff, API integrations and KPOs of this. I was just like, oh my gosh. So after about 3 months of that, I finally figured out what they were saying, and I got really good at understanding the business of Get Healthy. Then I got my store and I started to scale that in my telehealth company. And now I also have an academy where I do a lot of courses and teach practitioners and lay people. And I started just to apply the concepts, like what's the value of a branded store? Why does somebody care if it's my store, if it looks like me, if it's branded to me, if it's my URL? Does that really matter? And then I even went deeper and I was like, what about the product selection? Does it matter that I have all these products on there? Like, should I have all these categories? And so over the last 3 years, what I noticed is I became my clientele's and the people that follow me, so my prospects, I stepped in and became their one-stop shop. So they weren't just refilling supplements on my store. They were coming to me in appointments and I was scripting them their protocols, but then they would come back, refill their supplements, buy their skincare on my store, grab some, Paleo Valley bars, and, hit on that red light face mask a couple of times because I had Google Analytics, connected to my store. So I could see that they were cross shopping. And my average order value, which a lot of practitioners don't realize what that means, it's how much stuff that people put in the cart. Like at Amazon, right? I love Amazon. I go there, I put all kinds of stuff in my cart. And then I leave and then I come back and then, eventually I buy it. But that's what was happening at my store. So they were putting all kinds of items. And then eventually with the cart reminders that are automated, they would buy it. And so my average order value went from about $50 to $65, which is average, lower or higher, on other places like FullScript, to $150 to $175 on GetHealthy. So that's doubling my revenue just by switching the platform and giving people a shopping experience. So that's really what I was kind of amazed at. And then all the subscriptions that people have. I have lists of subscriptions. So people just order their multi, order their magnesium, their shake every month. I don't even have to do anything anymore. I probably have $10,000 of reoccurring revenue in subscriptions every month. And that's huge. That's huge. And for a practitioner that tells people, like, you got to be on this multi forever, and I want you on this probiotic, and you need this particular supplement. Maybe you need CoQ10 because you're taking a statin and you're not ready to get off of that yet. You can put that on subscription, and every month that just shows up on their doorstep and their credit card gets charged. It increases their compliancy for what you're saying, and it generates revenue for you without you having to do the extra work. So those were all the things. So I scaled from 0 to about 35,000 a month in product sales over the last 3 years. So that's probably where I'm at now.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations. One other thing to touch on. Yeah. One other thing to touch on so we don't miss it is you talked previously about trying to manage affiliate links, and how did that transform using kind of your e-com site?
Well, I really appreciate what affiliate links did for the industry, because I know that was a brand's way to kind of solve an issue. But now we're about 5 years past the issue. And I think practitioners are really looking at, hey, this is my brand, right? I'm teaching. And so affiliate links for my clientele who were very sick, I'm in Pennsylvania. I deal with a lot of Lyme, a lot of cancer. So my people are not always very clear-minded. And so if I would send them a PDF or a document and I would say, here's the items I want you to go to these websites. Well, if I'm not going into all that affiliate software checking, I don't know if they got the product. So I don't know what kind of compliancy they had. I felt it was really overwhelming for them. They would text me and be like, okay, which one am I supposed to get? Is this your site? And they would send me the site and the picture, and am I in the right place? So I think they felt overwhelmed. And, everybody uses a different software for affiliates. So I had to figure out, put my payment in over here and then another one over here. And then this 2-factor authentication thing drives me crazy, because you're logging into all these multiple sites and you got to put in these passcodes. And I was like, okay, enough. I can't. So what GetHealthy did was pull it all in one place for me. And I did have to switch a few brands, but the brands that we have on GetHealthy are the brands that everybody loves and knows, and their quality, they're therapeutic, doctor grade brands. And, affiliate links, we have to remember, and this is nothing against people that use them or even the brands that do them, but that's, as John has taught me, is cost of customer acquisition. They're trying to get your customer. I don't want my customer going away from me to get their health. I want them to come to me. So when I was sending people to these other places, that's not me. I can't control the customer experience. I don't know what's happening over there. I don't know what they're being upsold or downsold to. And so that just didn't sit well with me. So that solved for many of those issues that I saw with affiliate links.
Yeah. And then maybe, kind of talk about some of the other things that you do, like some of the workflows that GetHealthy Store automates for practitioners, how that translates to better client compliance or business efficiency.
Yeah. So some of the automations are, as I mentioned before, all of your product updates, right? So how we get those pricing changes, and the brand's like, hey, everything's going up 4 cents. So get into your POS and mark everything up 4 cents, nightmare for practitioners. We take care of all that. We take care of any imaging, all the compliancy. So all of that is automated on your store. So as soon as you click through our product catalog, what you want, in seconds, that is exposed on the front end of your store. It's in your catalog and you have access to it completely. So all of that is automated. The subscriptions I talked about, those are automated. So those will run every month or whatever the client selects, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You don't have to do anything. They get an email saying the subscription is going to run, then they get another one. So just to give them a little bit of heads up, so we're not getting all the returns. Reminders, cart reminders. If you have private label or product that you have in our warehouse, because we do fulfillment for some practitioners that have private label, we send you fulfillment reminders. So when you're low stock, so you can also determine that threshold, which means if you tell us, don't let me get below 12 on your shelf, then we send you a notification or your rep where you're getting the product from to get you a refill and have it shipped to our office. Even those abandoned cart reminders. And we don't think about that because, consumers, we just shop and go. But it is helpful when you walk away from your Amazon cart for your phone or your Alexa or whoever to say, hey, don't forget about your cart, right? And that helps your patients as well. So once you send them a recommendation and they put that in their cart, that automation is going to start for them to be like, hey, don't forget, have a recommendation from Dr. Tracy, you got to buy your cart. So it helps with compliancy. It helps patients have a guided, clean experience through the purchasing process. And it also saves us time as practitioners because we don't have to manage all those orders manually. I don't have to track down my inventory. I don't even have to carry inventory. I have no cost of goods. So all of that has really saved me time.
Yeah, it's amazing. Kind of for your customers that are super successful, what are the commonalities that you see and how they kind of activate and then work with their patients to making sure that they get success and pull through? I think that's one of the things that, somebody may be a hesitation, which is, how can I be certain that I'm going to see the uptick? So it'd be great if you had case studies or examples of, successful users.
Yeah, actually, we have a lot of successful users. I mean, I say my income, which is like a nothing burger compared to some of the extremely successful practitioners we have. I think one, they engage with their account manager. So just so everyone knows, it's not like, here's your store, buy. You get an actual person that will help you set up your store if you need it. And by setup, I mean, just change your marketing homepage images. We set up your whole store, your product offering, everything based on your choices, your hex colors, your logo. We do the whole thing. So when you meet with your account manager, they're going to teach you to use all the features and functions first, but then they're going to strategize with you based on what you do in clinic and how you want to scale. And then they can help you tailor what marketing features work best for you from the Get Healthy store, because everything's built in. So if you want a one-click upsell, so somebody buys something in the cart and they're getting ready to leave and check out, and a little pop-up says, hey, wait, before you go, do you want to add this? And they're like, well, yeah. And they click it, charges their card automatically, and that order's processed. So things like that we take for granted when we're doing our shopping, all of that, when people engage in our marketing features, they start to scale. The scripting tool, obviously that's an easy one. So when you get your Get Healthy store and you have Biocanic, it's integrated. So it's right there. You can just pop up the wireframe, you put all your stuff in the cart, and boom, that recommendation goes out through SMS or email, and people get it, and it's highly compliant. We have almost an 89% conversion rate on our recommendations through Get Healthy. So that is an easy, almost guaranteed sale when you make a recommendation utilizing your Biocanic tool. And then those that do marketing, just leading people, simple things. Announce your store. Say, hey, I got a store, right? You put it on your website, as your shop tab or your supplement store tab, like whatever you want to call it. But you got to bring awareness to it. And it doesn't have to be huge things. It's just the little things that you do on repeat. And then have a product offering, use that marketing homepage. The marketing homepage on the store is just this technology it just looks like you. It can be graphics with your picture on it. It can be sliders. Just think of it almost like a website, but it's an e-com site. And you can hyperlink those. So you can have a graphic. It says use code, first 10 and receive 10% off my parasite bundle. And when they click on that graphic, it takes them right to the bundle because our technology allows you to make bundles so that you can bundle products together and sell them like a program. So those are some of the things that practitioners will do, engaging with the account manager, using the marketing features, and making sure the store is branded to them so that they have an experience for their patients that are going to come in.
Yeah. And then kind of thinking a little bit, in a different way, what are some of the common misconceptions that practitioners have about offering supplements through their own storefront? Is reservations concerns, and how would you talk to that?
Well, number one, I think they think it's too tech heavy, right, to have a storefront, and they're correct. I think building your own store is tedious and maintaining it. But with what we do, we make it super easy because it's literally 5 emails that you receive. And as long as you follow the bouncing ball, we can have a store for you up and running in 5 days with ready to go and ready to sell product. Other practitioners, they worry about being salesy, right? They worry that they'd say, I don't want to look like I'm selling. And what I normally remind them is Amazon has no problem selling supplements to your clients. And when they do that, they have no guidance. And when they purchase off Amazon, they're going to price war. And when they price war, they're going to end up getting probably third-party sellers that aren't the brand, because that's how it works. And so now they're getting supplements that, maybe not even be what's on the label. And it's not Amazon's fault, not the brand's fault. It's just that's how a consumer shops. So when you say, I don't want to look salesy, you're basically saying, I don't want to put forth the effort to try to teach my clients why it's beneficial to purchase from me. And I get it, because you don't want to look egotistical, but honestly, it's a sea of misinformation out there. I don't know if you saw that most recent video that guy put out, and he was talking about his supplement experience by purchasing something on Amazon. And then he investigated it, and he found out like these third-party sellers on there that they're trying to get off, but they're basically mimicking brands. And the brands are trying to go after them, but you can only do so much. So, guys, I really look at it like this is something that we owe our patients and clients, and we owe them the explanation as to why it's important that they don't go just out on the internet and purchase products from someplace they don't know, because you don't know what you're getting. When they come and they purchase from your Get Healthy store, it's an API connection right to the brand. We at Get Healthy do not use third-party distribution centers. We go right to the brands themselves, getting the product right from the brand. So you have this know, like, and trust factor that, will give them a lot of security. So.
Yeah. And kind of picking up on one of the earlier points that you talked about. So for those customers that do have their private label or their own products that they're looking, so what does that look like, and how do they, both sides, both for their own storefront, but then also, being a part of the catalog?
Yeah. So if it's a private label, they can have those products on their storefront alone, which, in their supplement drop-down tab, we can actually itemize their products first. So it could say Dr. Smith supplements, Again, we build all their product detail pages. We just need that from them, the images and the details that they want to include, and the retail price. So that is their product. We can also warehouse that for them if they don't want to ship product. If they are currently shipping product and they want the orders to come to them, we can certainly send them. That's an in-clinic order. They'll receive an email that, Sarah bought their private label magnesium, and they can ship that out from their clinic. But if they don't want that burden and they don't want the hassle of packaging and shipping, they can have the company that they private label with send that order directly to us at our warehouse. And we're located in Austin, Texas. So at that point, we become your pick, pack, and ship partners. And so that burden is off of you. You can still see the orders in real time, and you can still see your inventory decrement in real time, but we take that warehousing operational burden from you. Now, as for becoming a catalog brand, if you have your own brand, you can certainly become a brand on our catalog. That's a simple process. And I always say we're brand friendly, because we want to be able to pay you the margin that you deserve. We work in the shipping, and that's an easy process of onboarding. It requires a product sourcing agreement, a meeting with Lindsay, one test order, and you're off and running. We give every brand a free announcement to all of our practitioners. So they are welcome to check that out if they have a brand and they want to bring it on the catalog.
Awesome. Yeah, that's super exciting, especially for people that are just coming into the market or looking for a distribution partner. So I know it's
totally.
Yeah, you guys offer a great service. How do when kind of building that product catalog, how should a practitioner think about strategically choosing? Like, should they just add all 10,000 SKUs? How do you guide somebody along that journey?
I keep myself from doing that every day. John's like, quit adding so many products. I'm like, I love everything. So multiple product offering, just having something from every category. right? So you have to think of it as a shopping experience, especially if you're a lifestyle practitioner like I am. I'm not just talking about the supplements. I'm talking about the water filters they need, the shower head filters. I want them to get their macros up. Here's some, bars and meat sticks and some protein shakes. And then over here, here's your red light and your PEMF mat and infrared sauna. So again, everything's available in your Get Healthy store. So here they are having that one product offering. And then think about what you do clinically, so focus on your protocols, not just the products, but on the protocols, and start with your 5 to 10 top conditions that you're seeing in your practice and what goals and product offerings you want to put together to support those clients. So let's say that you're an allergy specialist. Well, you might want to add products that are Air Doctor, Austin Air, Ion Box air filter to your store, as well as your detox protocol for your allergies. Maybe you test food sensitivity for that. You could add those tests from your catalog. And then you could actually take something and build a bundle. So you could have a food sensitivity test, an ion air purifier, and a detox protocol all in one click. So when you're thinking about how do I strategically choose what products I want to offer, make it relevant to you and easy for patients to shop. And then land them where you want them to be, whether it's on the bundle, on the product page, whatever that looks like. So make it easy for them because, it can get overwhelming, but you don't need everything. And that's why we don't put everything on your store. 10,000 SKUs is way too confusing to the consumer.
Yeah. And then talk a little bit about how Get Healthy Store helps practitioners build that passive revenue, but while staying in alignment with clinical integrity.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. We let practitioners choose only the brands they trust. We have 350 that we trust, but you may only like 6 to 10 brands. That's okay. But these are all professional lines, right? So they know that what they're getting is good. Again, with the protocols, we let practitioners build the protocols the way they want to build them. We don't have already preset protocols that they add to their store. They can if they want to, but we don't force them to do that. So I think catalog selection is a big one. The marketing homepage where they can brand it, right? We're not just Get Healthy and then Dr. Smith's portal. Like when people land on that, there's a separation of relationship. We want people to land on Dr. Smith's website, his Get Healthy store, and it's Dr. Smith everywhere. And there's no trace of Get Healthy because that's not our store. We are the tech company supporting his store. That's what we do. So, the brand recognition, the brands that they can trust, and then being able to build those protocols, that's going to help them do the clinical integrity. On the back of the store, we have the entire scripting tool. We have all the integrations to help you be a successful practitioner. So not only scripting supplements, but all the other wellness categories, diagnostic tests. Maybe you have a course that you require everybody to do prior to. You can attach that to the recommendation. So we have all of these tools. You can see orders. You can make sure that people are viewing the recommendation. You can make sure that they've completed the recommendation. All of those tools and insights are on the back of the store for you to see to make sure you keep high compliancy.
Yeah. I know you rolled out some new stuff, so maybe why don't you just give kind of a quick run through of all the new stuff that just came out?
Yeah, so we actually are rolling out a new product search catalog, which will be out in about 2 weeks. But this week, we added our lab test category. So you are able to now expose or put on the front of your store a lab test, whether that's blood serum or a specialty test like Dutch or GI map. So we basically created you a test marketplace. But this is a full integration, which means when somebody buys that test, if you have an account with Avexia and it's connected to your Get Healthy store, it will send that order and create a patient profile in Avexia under your account and under that patient's account. So if they already have a profile, it will actually just pull in the order under their profile. And then once they complete the test and the results are back, we pull the orders back into your store so that you're notified that the results are in. And so this is great for what we call lab test funnels. And I don't know if you know Joy Houston, Jeremy, but she's a wonderful marketer. And I just really enjoy her enthusiasm for our world. I think because she experienced it and she's watched practitioners burn out. Well, she and Get Healthy kind of collaborated together on a lab test funnel, which means you can take the lab, put it out to the world and say, hey, do you have these symptoms? Get this test. And what we do is we funnel them into the test purchase. But now with our integration to different marketing softwares like Go High Level and Active Campaign, when somebody buys that test, it gets triggered into a nurturing campaign. And so this is a little bit of advanced marketing that I honestly will tell you, it's marketing that any practitioner can do. And if you build it once, you can do it 100 times, right? But the exposed tests in general, I think, are very powerful because sometimes people will just go order a Dutch test somewhere and come back and they have no idea what to do with it. When they order a Dutch test now from your store, you will know and you will get the results as well. So it keeps the practitioner in the loop of even people that are prospects that are shopping their store so that the practitioner is notified. And then if they want to do an action on that, if they want to export that email or contact that person and say, hey, I noticed you ordered a Dutch test from my store. I really appreciate that. Would you like a quick interpretation of the results? I looked it over and I have a few thoughts. I can send them to you. Well, yeah. So send them a couple of thoughts on the Dutch and say, there's more to tell you, but to go over this in depth, we could have an appointment, and because you ordered the test, I'll take 20% off the appointment for you. So they can use it as a conversion tool too, if you're savvy enough to, stay on top of those orders. But those are just some of the new things that we're constantly trying to improve our tech, make it more practitioner friendly, keep the practitioner at the center of everything. We never want to circumvent the doctor.
Yeah. No, it's such a great offering, such a great turnkey, solution, to be paired with the store as well. And so I know that's going to be a great offering. And Joy's been on quite a bit. And we've partnered with her on her approach as well. So love to send people to Heal at Scale. It's a great way to kind of get your messaging together with a great jumpstart, and then also pre-qualifying your customer, right? So that person comes in, they're already paying out of pocket. So you've already qualified them as being somebody who would be ready to purchase. So
yeah.
You mentioned in your last appearance that trust and simplicity are key. Can you share any examples where a practitioner was able to grow significantly after implementing your platform?
Yeah, me. I am your example. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, once I got the understanding of how to use the technology and whatnot, and, marketing's a learning curve for all of us. So what I love about our team is we step in and we know what works and what doesn't work with our platform. So that's the value of the account manager. But I can name a few practitioners off the top of my head, and not anybody that's like huge name or known. We do have those, but Eleanor Dooley comes to mind. She's a holistic practitioner. She deals in women's hormones. She went from 0 sales to, double digits in sales every month because she was consistent. She did one simple thing, one simple message, used one simple funnel, and she scaled. So we don't have to do everything. I know we get inundated with all these marketing companies and trainings, and all of a sudden you're like doing everything. Like the thing I like about Joy System is it's one thing and it connects to the e-com platform, that works. And when you do one thing and you do it well, it will scale. So don't get overwhelmed with, all of the plans and marketing techniques and all the things. Just, go from product to protocols to care plans and let the automation do the rest. That's what I would say.
Yeah. And then maybe just quickly coming back just to fully explain, walk through exactly how that automation, the GetHealthy Store automations really take everything off the plate of the practitioner.
Yeah. So if you're just getting started and you want to get a store, right? It's minimal setup. You're going to basically have a series, as I said, of different emails. We ask you for your logo, your hex colors. If you don't know them, we just steal them off your website and we design your store so it looks like you. The marketing homepage is a template until you change it. You go through and add the products that you want. You connect your bank account and you are ready to go. Just literally. If you have private label and you want us to be your fulfillment partner, you have that shipped to us. If not, we build your product pages and send the orders to you. So getting started with Get Healthy is super simple. And then from that point, you meet with your account manager and you decide what is your first tactic. Usually I tell doctors, like, just tell people you have a store. Send out an email to your warm list saying, hey, this is so cool. I got a store and I actually have all of these different products that I talk about and brands that I trust. You don't have to worry about shopping on these online platforms that you don't know what you're getting, because I got the goods. Maybe send out a coupon in that first email and invite people to go explore your store and purchase if they want to. So those are simple tactics. And it's super easy to get started, and people will shop with you. They want to support you. Honestly, I don't think, Jeremy, there was like an ethics talk with our patients, right? Where they don't know if they go and buy somewhere else and then walk into our office with a bottle of supplements and they're like, oh yeah, I got this on Amazon and I wanted to know how to take it. And I'm like, well, call Amazon, like, you didn't buy it from me. I'm not that mean. I don't say that. Unless it's junk, then I tell them to take it to the garbage and feed it to that. But I don't think they know. But I think if we get better at saying, hey, I'd really appreciate if you purchase from me and support what I do, and I'm happy to give you a discount, people will. I think they truly want to support the practitioner.
Awesome. So what would be one piece of advice that you give a practitioner today who wants to stop trading time for money but doesn't know where to start?
Well, I'd say start with what you're already doing, right? If you know you have a niche and you know who you are and who you help and how the result that you get, do what you do most often, but just put it into an automated flow. Direct people somewhere that makes it easy to participate with you. Sometimes they don't always want to make an appointment with us, right? That's not always the call to action that we need to be putting out there. Sometimes they're just looking for different things like products or even education. So, if you're out there and you're in the industry and you want to get started with an easy e-com solution that has a dispensary and scripting tool in the back, that's us. So with the right tech, your protocols, you can work for you 24/7 without being in the chair and making money while you sleep and serving more people and generating more revenue when you're not even in the room. And I think that's really important, because you work so hard on your brand, you work so hard on your integrity, make it work for you too. So we need to make money. This is a business at the end of the day. You have to stay in business or you can't help anybody.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then so kind of what are, from an execution implementation standpoint, what are some common mistakes you see when they start with their storefront, and how can they avoid them?
Yeah, they don't change the marketing homepage, which is okay. It's just a template. It says, hey, welcome to my store. But it's, they might have like yellow border or gold and the template's gray. So it's kind of like this yucky contrast. And then they never change it. So it's always the same, So number one, get in there and change your marketing homepage, add some sliders, add some call outs, hyperlink. Or they won't build their bundles. People like bundles. They like to buy things in synergy, and bundles are great because you can go out and do a webinar or a live stream or even a reel and be like, guys, here's 3 things you need in order to enhance your metabolic output, right? Boom, boom, boom. Here's why I like each of these supplements. And if you want to go grab them, here's the link. It's in the bio, and use coupon metabolic 10. And people will jump. They'll go. They'll be like, oh, I want to see these products. And if you have the bundle built, they're not sweeping through your store saying, okay, what did he say? He said thermogenesis, and where is that? And they're typing in thermogenesis. Remember, every time somebody clicks, you lose 20%. So you have 100 people on your live stream. By the time you get to the people that have products in the cart, you might only have 2 or 3. So you want to get people from the education or content into the cart, or at least a step before, so that you can, convert those 40%, not 2. And so those are some common mistakes, that they're not changing that marketing homepage, keeping the brand relevant, and they're not getting people to where they need to be when they're promoting their store. So those 2 things are really important.
Yeah. I guess one question that we haven't even touched on is, let's talk with pricing. What does it look like? And, what are the offerings that you guys have?
Well, we have 3 separate offerings starting at $99 a month. Which is really nothing. Probably some of the cheapest tech around now. I think all tech is over $150 most of the time, which is fine. I mean, you get what you pay for. So $99 a month. Our next offer is, now you put me on the spot because I'm not in sales, $297 and then $347. And the difference is really some additional marketing features, and then, fulfillment if you have private label. So there's some additional things that you get with the bigger stacks, but the $99 a month is perfectly fine. And everything that I talked about today is included. So we try to start you out as robust as possible. As you become more savvy at marketing, at scaling, you're going to want the additional features, but at that point you'll be making revenue, and you'll be those tech fees are nothing. No, it's $197. I lied. It's not $297. So, what I noticed was, the tech fee is a really big thing. Unless you're making lots of money, then the tech fee is like a really small thing. The nice thing about Get Healthy Store is we grow with you. So eventually you outgrow just dispensary platforms, because eventually you want your brand, and eventually you want to sell beyond just supplements, and eventually. So our platform actually grows with you. So you can start at $99 and scale as you need to with more marketing features and functions.
Awesome. And then maybe last question before we transition to a Q&A, looking ahead, how do you see the role of practitioner on storefronts evolving in functional and integrative health?
I think it's going to be a must-have. You're going to have to be online. The world is not going back to brick and mortar. I still think the in-clinic appointment is important, and people still want that connection. Absolutely. But if you want to capture prospects, you want to gain a know, like, and trust factor, you need to be online and be able to send people to places that gets them what they want. The number one conversion factor a couple years ago was relative price, which means people would go and price war everything. Now it's convenience. So if you can be like, hey, here's 3 things you need to know, and here's how you get it, go here, and it's convenient, they will go. But if you don't have a place to send them, or if they have to pick up a phone or fill out a form, they're going to bounce. So doctors are going to need a storefront so that people can continue to DIY their health, because that's where the industry's growing. We have a very educated consumer base now.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I think the combination of now both labs and having data-driven recommendations, including with the supplements, I think is, transforming the industry and how it's really the expectations of the consumer now, right? I want to understand the why and see the why, and then also retest, right? And see what impact it has had on my health.
Oh yeah. Data-driven. Yeah. You have to have testing.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's transition to our audience Q&A. Thank you to everyone who's been posting questions in the comments. We'll get to as many as we can. If you're watching this as a replay, feel free to post your questions. We'll make sure we get them to Tracy. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a live stream. So first question, ItzyBits007 from YouTube asks, does the base bundle still include the custom colors and branding for the shop site, just not a custom site URL?
Correct. Yeah, that's all correct. You still get your custom colors, everything, the marketing homepage. It still looks like you. Your URL will be your name. So if it's ItzyBitsy007 at GetHealthy.Store, as you scale and you want your own custom URL, which is nice because then you can have a subdomain, which means if you use something like GoDaddy to create your URL, right, that your website lives on, we can be your shop tab on that website, but it can be a shop dot. So now you're getting that search engine optimization juice being pushed up. So you get ranked higher in the Google feeds. So there's things that as you scale as a practitioner in the market, you'll learn some things like I did because I knew nothing like this 3 years ago. But you do get all of that custom colors, branding, everything for your shop site. It is your site, owned by you, operated by us.
Yeah. And do you, kind of building on that, do you see people start at the base package and then upgrade over time, or do people kind of?
It depends. It depends where they are. You know, if a practitioner is already to a point where they have private label, they probably have some brand recognition, right? So if they are choosing to keep the integrity of their brand, they know that they don't want people shopping outside of their brand. They have, 5, 10, 15 SKUs. Then they're going to start at a higher package because they're probably going to need our services. They're going to want that custom URL. They're going to want some advanced marketing features. But honestly, I started out with the $99 store and I did just fine. So I last year changed my URL. So I had a $99 level store with a non-custom URL until last year.
Wow.
And it didn't hurt me at all. So people were not looking at my URL going, that's not Tracy's URL. I mean, it said my name. It said TraceyStroupND.com at GetHealthy.Store, but nobody left because of that.
And another question from the same person from YouTube asked, how is the integration of the ordered labs into Biocanic?
Well, those are two different integrations. So I would say you'd probably have to choose, right?
Mhm.
So you could use Biocanic, which is fine because you want to kind of keep everything in your portal. I would say with the integration with Biocanic, I would probably keep your labs within Biocanic and then just use us as your scripting tool for your protocols of supplements and non-supplement products. So if you have a solution in place, fine. On the sales side, if you want to do a webinar about Dutch testing, that's when I would say the integration between Get Healthy and Avexia is valuable to you because now you're kind of marketing that Dutch test as a lead magnet and you're going to funnel that qualified person into your Biocanic system as a patient. So a little different approach. Both are valuable. You can do both. You can script your tests through Biocanic and sell them on the front end through Get Healthy. That's totally fine. So options for everybody. There's no always or never. We try to work with what you need.
Yeah, I think that's a great way. And I would say the same way, slightly different. The Get Healthy lab test funnel is your front end, top of funnel. This is where you bring your leads in and convert them to a paid customer. And then once you bring them in, so, hey, look, you ran that Dutch test. That's a great start. Now let's go deeper and come into my packages and programs. Then you connect and order through that same Avexia account and those labs come in automatically. So it's all synced and it's a really great kind of turnkey solution. Is for getting that lab test funnel, is that included in the subscription? Is that an added fee? Like, how does that work?
It's not an added, I mean, it's Joy's funnel program, right? So we send people to her to learn because we don't need to be experts. She's already got that going on.
Yeah.
There's no fee to run it through the store because you're just using content to product page. The only thing is if they want something connected on the back end, we have an integrations dropdown and they just need to click on what they want integrated. We don't have fees for integrations either. So if you want to integrate Go High Level, Active Campaign, your Thinkific account to lead them to a course after they buy the blood panel, you can do that. So all of that's there and there's no charge for those.
Awesome. Next question, JM from YouTube asked, how easy is it to learn how to do all the techie stuff that allows all of this to work together, Get Healthy with Biocanic, and learning how to use both the platforms?
I think it's pretty easy. It says in your Biocanic, it says Get Healthy, right? And you just click it. Okay. It's not hard, JM, or, it's not.
Yeah.
We tried to make it as easy as possible. And all the connecting of that, we make Jeremy do that. We're like, hey, Jeremy, you do this for all your people. So he does. He handles all of that for you. If you want a store and you want to see the technology, we give you a free demo. You can see all that. And then if you choose to go forward, we let Jeremy know that you want your store connected to your Biocanic portal, and he does that on that end. At that point, you can dispense and script, and then you have a full functioning store. So it's super simple.
Yeah. And by default, so we are connected. So Biocanic has its own Get Healthy store. So that's a default option for anybody to try it out. So from any client dashboard, it's available, it's actionable. You can enroll anybody at any time. You're like, hey, this is great. I want to take my business to the next level. I'm going to sign up. I'm going to have that branded, that shop.myclinicalpractice.com. You just send us an email. We work with the Get Healthy team and we get that activated. It's less than a day just to get that pointed at your own individual store.
Yeah.
So what are some of the most, next question. What are some of the most successful ways you've seen practitioners integrate supplements and e-scripts into their client protocols using the platform?
Boy, this is all a bunch of techie words. These are smart doctors. Well, I mean, in clinical practice, I use the scripting tool, obviously. I'm just trying to think of what he's asking me here. Into their client protocols using the platform. Oh, okay. So if you're using Biocanic, you can probably talk to this point, Jeremy. Using the store, you have already preset protocols that they can select from
Mhm.
Correct. And
Yep.
then with Biocanic, it's automated. So once they build a protocol in the pop-up dispensary tool, that gets pulled right into your Biocanic app. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I think if they're talking Biocanic in the protocols that they're writing out in Biocanic and how do we integrate this, that's already an API integration. It's automatic.
Mhm.
If you're using something different, then you can do hyperlinks and things like that. But we are fully integrated with Biocanic. Into protocols, it just depends on what you're building. I mean, you can add any non-supplement to a protocol. If you want to enhance detox, you could add an infrared sauna. If you wanted to, make sure that people's xenoestrogen stays down, you could add personal care items or even water filter systems. So I hope I'm answering your question. I'm not really clear on what you're asking, but I hope I'm answering it somewhat.
Yeah. Next question, which I think is a great question. How would I know if I'm ready to scale my practice, right? As you are well aware, people generally sign up for the free account for FullScript, right?
Mhm.
So when should somebody, really build out their storefront in their individual practitioner journey?
Well, I would honestly say when the $99 a month fee is not a burden to you. If you can sell enough product that you can cover that tech fee, you're ready. You'd be surprised how many practitioners are not selling anything, to be perfectly honest.
Mhm.
The second would be that you have some recognition. People are seeking you out rather than you always trying to acquire. And then the third would be, revenue. Are you increasing your revenue month over month? And have you hit your goals and targets for Q1, Q2? The fourth thing would be is if you haven't even laid out a business plan and a scaling plan, then that might be something to consider because you need to know how you're doing in the industry, right? What you made last year versus this year, last month versus this month. So, it was Ryan over at Avexia that said, practitioners need to spend more time working on their business than in their business. And, I really took that to heart this year and really looked at my business. What was the most highest converting social platform? What did my emails do? Like I sat down and took a hard look and I improved on those. So when you're at the point where you're asking the question, when am I ready to scale? You're probably ready to scale. So take the next step. Don't be afraid. Do something that's going to create an extra arm of revenue for you, like product sales, so that you can free up some time and you can start hiring people to help you scale. So that's what happened to me. I first got an assistant, and then I hired an implementer. I just hired a marketing director. And I have a couple other practitioners that work in my telehealth. And I didn't do it all at once. I did it over time as I was like, I need this now because I have to go do this next thing and I need somebody to cover what I do. So take a look at your business, see how your revenue generation is going, see what things that you're needing, and then put tools in that can help you generate revenue like Biocanic, like GetHealthy, so that you can scale easier.
Yeah. It may be one thing that we didn't touch on. Can you talk a little bit about how the commissions work, specifically, with different products and different things and promo codes and discount codes? I don't think we actually dug into that.
Yeah, it's pretty typical. I mean, we do a margin split on the net profit. So from wholesale to retail. So it works out to be about 30 to 35% of the product sale that you're making. So it's pretty typical in the industry, whether you're going through a brand portal. It's much better than most affiliates, I'll tell you that. But it's pretty typical. And then, depending on the type of product. So for example, food, it has terrible commissions just overall because it expires fast. So those splits will be a little bit lower, but on supplements and, bigger items, you're looking at about 30 to 35%. And you get paid out daily. So we don't hold your money. That's going to be in your account. The split happens automatically. And, it depends on how fast your bank is how fast it gets into your account.
Yeah. And I can attest to that. You see those things, you see the deposits come in right after the orders are placed. So, well, listen, this has been a great discussion. I want to thank all of you who joined us today and asked questions. If you're watching this as a replay, you can still post your questions and get them answered in the comments below, wherever you're watching. Thank you again, Tracy, for joining me today. Where can people learn more about working with you and getting connected with the Get Healthy Store?
Yeah, just visit our website. It's GetHealthy.Store. And please feel free to sign up for a free demo. There's no obligation, but you actually get to talk to a real person, talk to them about your business, whether or not this is a right fit. Honestly, we don't want you to feel that you have to do these things. We want it to be a natural progression of your business. And then, they will help you get started if you choose us. So feel free. My email is just my name, Tracy at GetHealthy.Store. Feel free to email me. I'm happy to talk you through whatever questions you have. And Jeremy, thank you so much for having us on and being a great partner.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Tracy. Really appreciate it. Always great to see and chat with you, and really excited about, the partnership and what this does for our practitioners. So just a reminder for everyone, we've got our best practices next week, and it's a special best practices with our favorite guest, Jen Malecha, is going to be doing a business conversation. We also have our biweekly coffee circle coming up. We have some great guests like Dr. Aaron Gonchor. So make sure you join us at hicks.biocanic.com to get those on your calendar. And then we'll be joining us in mid-July for our next guest, who is we're taking a week off for 4th of July with Dr. Albert Mensa from DHA to talk about cryptoparole testing. So really excited. Really, brain inflammation is such a hot topic. So really excited to have them on and have a great discussion. But thanks again, Tracy. Really appreciate it.
See you guys.